This morning in the Sunday Spotlight, the legal issues for the frontrunners in the 2024 presidential campaign, court appearances, special counsel investigations, and a lot of questions about how voters at the polls will process it all. It's an issue both sides of the political aisle are working to navigate. On the Republican side, the former president Donald Trump facing his fourth criminal indictment, a total of 91 charges in all the cases against him. Meanwhile, this morning, Democrats are waiting to see what comes out of that special counsel investigation of the president's son, Hunter. This morning, I break it all down and look at the Arizona impact with Dr. Barbara Norander, Emeritus Professor at the U of A School of Government and Public Policy. A new AP Norcode poll says a combined 63% of people asked either definitely won't or probably will not support the former president in the general election. 54% say that's the case for Joe Biden. Between the indictments and the investigations, I asked Dr. Norander about how unprecedented all this really is.
Well, obviously, we haven't had a presidential candidate who's been indicted 4 times before, but there have been individuals who have run for the presidency and under indictment. Perhaps one of the more recent ones was Rick Perry, the Texas governor in 2016. He was under indictment when he was running for the presidential nomination. He was eventually cleared, but that was after he already dropped out of the race. And there have been some minor party candidates who have been in jail and run for president. But generally, the people who are running for president are not under indictment.
We'll start with the former president, Mr. Trump. Between all the indictments, almost 100 criminal charges here. He is still the front runner. No one else is even close. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm going to blame the media in part because of all the attention they give to Trump. So every time there's a possible indictment, there's several days of talking about, is he going to be indicted? And then when he's indicted, what's in the indictment? What are the implications? Then when he comes to be arraigned, there's coverage of the motorcade and his plane, and then the motorcade to the arraignment and asking whether or not he's going to be fingerprinted, and then after events. So he's basically dominating the media cycle and not leaving any room for the other 10 candidates out there to be heard. Trump is also raising funds for his campaign off of these indictments with his messages and stuff like that. So those are a couple of the reasons that he's still dominating the field.
So we are not new to this with the former president, really ever since coming down the escalator in 2015. It's been controversy after controversy after controversy. And his base, a lot of in his party, continue to support him. We've got a quote here from Southern Arizona GOP Representative Juan Ciscomani. After this latest indictment, he says, quote, "I'm deeply concerned about partisanship and a double standard creeping into our justice system. Timing and political partisanship clouds the merit of these charges with doubt, which can erode the trust of Americans in our legal system." He says, "Our standard should always be equal justice under the law," end quote. We've heard this from several in the GOP about two sides of the justice system. Hear it here with Representative Ciscomani. What's your take on that, the response?
Well, they're echoing the sentiments that Trump has made himself in terms of talking about the unfairness of these indictments. But it is, in a way, the supporters of Trump feel that he has represented them in terms of their cultural identity and sort of looking back to a past where the America looked different than it does today. And also he has delivered on a number of promises during his presidency, such as appointing conservative justices that would make rulings in favor of their positions, moving the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. So he has delivered to them on policies.
Let's talk about the Democrats here. Hunter Biden on the Democratic side, not the president directly involved in this point, at least, but it's his son. Do you think moving forward as we get further into this campaign, it's a distraction, or do you think it becomes a bigger issue?
Well, it'll probably be a distraction. So obviously there'll probably be a congressional hearing on Hunter Biden. You would have to have some more definite connections between President Biden and his son in terms of dealings or changes in policy, and none of that has come forward so far. So it'd probably be more of a distraction.
I want to take a step back and just look at this from a 30,000 foot kind of thing. You have been doing politics for a long time. What's just your take on the state of this race, given the indictments, given the legal issues, given there's so much on the line? When was the last time we saw a race like this? Ever?
I'm sure that in history we have seen some races that were very crucial. You could think of, the election of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and all he did to recover with the New Deal. So there were obviously various crises in the U.S. Lincoln in the Civil War. So there have been times when we've had very serious issues that needed to be addressed. Obviously, this is different in terms of the sort of the legal issues that are surrounding this particular campaign, but there's still, important issues about where's the country going to go? What's it going to look like in 10, 15 years from now?
And with that in mind, of course, if the former president is found guilty and goes to jail, that's unprecedented. That's something we'll have to see. But short of that, the impact of this race just on regular folks, if Joe Biden wins, if Donald Trump wins, no matter who wins, given this race, do you think it changes policy or even how the winner governs moving forward?
I think it might change some of the style of the president campaigns, maybe some of the style of the presidents, maybe pulling back a little bit from the personality, dominating the news cycle and talking a little bit more about issues or policies, although it's been a pattern for decades that those types of things do not get as much attention as the media paying attention to personalities.
Certainly a lot to watch here. What do you think sticks out to you the most, at least right now?
Just trying to see how you could have 4 trials going on at the same time while you're having a presidential campaign going on. And typically, nomination campaigns are over by March or April, and he could still be having trials at that time.
And President Trump will be in and out of courtrooms while campaigning, while we wait and see what's next with Hunter Biden and that special counsel investigation. That's it for this week's Sunday Spotlight. Stay with 13 News as we track both of those investigations and the 2024 race very closely. 13 News Live this morning is back after a quick break.